Hello everyone, this is Shlok, and with XAT right around the corner, I wanted to make a quick video to discuss my decision-making learnings from all the XAT mocks that I've taken. I'll be mainly emphasizing on some recurring themes and patterns, which if we witness on the final exam would be a gold mine for all of us. And in one of the segments of the videos, we also discuss a couple of questions in order to acquaint ourselves with some of the most important learnings. So with that said, let's get started. The most interesting part of the video, some of the recurring themes that I've seen coming in XAT papers and mocks tens of times, and I cannot reiterate the importance of some of these points. So let's get started with the first one. Formal complaint to an authority must not be based on hearsay. So what is hearsay? Rumors, something that you're not really sure of. Formal complaints must be based on solid evidence. Taking an example here, let's say you're an employee in a company and you hear that one of your colleagues has been spreading rumors about you. So the fact that you've heard them spreading rumors about you is itself a rumor, and you cannot go ahead and complain to the HR authorities just on the basis of a rumor. So any formal complaint needs to be based in some solid evidence. A second more important example I would say is that you cannot go and file a defamation suit just because, let's say, a research organization has published something about your company. You need to actually dive deep, and you have to conduct a thorough investigation in order to understand whether those allegations are correct or not, and then and only then you can go ahead and file a formal complaint. So that is something about the first point. Coming to the second point, choose specific courses of action which are most likely to achieve the intended goal. So let's say we are stuck in a dilemma where we have to optimize for revenue, that is we have to maximize the revenues, and we have to choose between two options, which is first we want to give out discount coupons and give out better credit terms to the consumers, or the second one is the fact that we advertise and we improve the overall awareness about the company. And our straight go-to should be the first option that has the direct impact on or it leads to an uptick in sales. So that is a little bit about this, and I wanted us to be hyper focused on the impact of the decision. That is the option addressing the problem at hand? And if it is not, at every step we should ask, is this option impacting the problem at hand? And if it does not, we need to eliminate that option. Coming to the third point, if a decision-making option seeks to bring in opinion of the top management, it needs to be an important decision. So you cannot just refer your decisions to the top management just because an option gives you the opportunity to do so. These decisions need to be important. They need to impact the long-term growth of the organization, or they need to be something that is related to the macroeconomy. Is the reason why these need to be referred to the top management. If let's say you are a head of department and the particular decision is related to a particular employee is related to your particular department, you should most generally not refer these decisions to the top management. Coming to the fourth point, past performance does not guarantee future results. So let's say you're a country and you want to improve the condition of poverty in the country, and let's say you stumble upon or you do some research as to how the country has performed in the past and what are some of the strategies that have worked out. These strategies may or may not definitely work out in the current case, and in 9 out of 10 cases that I've seen these options, most of them are not the right ones. Avoid options that add to the red tape. One important example I want to bring in was talk about which is creating more committees and adding to the bureaucracy. So let's say a committee has arrived at a decision, and an option says that refer this decision to another committee and create more committees in order to give out another recommendation. That unnecessarily leads to the red tape, and it leads to increase in the bureaucracy. So these options generally should be eliminated. Next one, confrontational options are least likely to be the answer. Let's say you're a junior in the organization and there's a senior in the organization who happens to hold a grudge against you and is biased against you. So you cannot straight up confront them and say that your beliefs are incorrect. You need to be a little diplomatic about this, and then you need to approach this situation, because 9 times out of 10, again, sorry to repeat the same catchphrase, but these kinds of options are mostly wrong. Do not let go of an opinion because a senior disagrees with you. Let's say you hold a certain opinion about a particular project and a senior happens to disagree with you. You should try to get to the depth of why that particular opinion was wrong, or you should try to gauge more feedback from your senior before entirely letting go of that opinion. Similar results in similar situations may not help with the situation at hand. Let's say you're India and you want to improve on the poverty scenario, and or not the poverty scenario. Let's say you want to improve the population crises and you want to reduce the population in the country. And let's say one of the options says that China had a similar problem and they use the one child policy. So options like these do not mostly work out because there are a lot of other socio-economic factors that also lead to a very important impact on the decisions. So we have the first question over here, and I would love for you to take a gander at it, and then we'll dive right into it. For the sake of time, skipping right to the second half of the question, Vanamali, afraid of further deforestation, issued a diktat against felling of trees in the mountains. In due course, thanks to the booming agriculture, the king, along with the plains people, began to prosper. However, mountain people became relatively poor thanks to Vanamali's diktat. Which of the following options should mountain people choose to best protect their long-term interests? So there are two aspects over here. A is the fact that the mountain people are relatively poor, so we want to improve their wealth. Second is the fact that we are looking at the long term. So no options that are only that have a short term horizon, that look at the temporary circumstances, would most likely not be our answer. So these are the two things that we need to be extremely focused upon. Let's look at the options. Sell forest produce exclusively to the neighboring kingdoms. This reduces your client base, in no way enhances your wealth or improves on the poverty situation. The second option, seek employment in the plains, looks like a good option, very good option. I kept it aside in the exam scenario. Ignore Vanamali's diktat and divert forest land for agriculture. This is straight up illegal, going against the king's diktat. We can throw it out of the window. Charge a premium on forest produce and issue hunting permits. First part of the option, I like it very much. Charge a premium on forest produce. You definitely will end up making more money if you sell your produce for a higher price. Second part of the question, issuing hunting permits. Now, here a hunch came in me that maybe it might be slightly unethical. In order to make more money, you start issuing hunting permits. But again, what we need to understand over here is the fact that we are not optimizing for ethics over here. We are optimizing for the fact that we want to improve our long-term wealth and career progression. So that is there, and we have to improve on the poverty situation as well. So we keep the D option aside as well, which is what I did in the exam scenario. And the E option says that stop the flow of rivers to the plains. I think that is an extreme option. You're not supposed to change the course of nature because you're unable to solve a particular problem. So we keep that, we eliminate that option as well. So now coming on to B and D, how did I eliminate the B option? In the exam scenario, to be very frank, I took an educated guess. I liked the D option better, so I went with it. But the reason why B is not the right answer is the fact that if you become employed in the plains, how are you a mountain person anymore? So the crux of the argument here is that you want to serve your long-term interests by making use of the mountain resources. So that is the reason why you should have to be in the mountains in order to be able to use those resources. So that is the reason why we eliminate option B, and then we come down to option D, which is our final answer. So with that, we get done with the first question. Let's take a look at the second question, and a short one. Purushottam Bhatnagar owns and operates a sweet shop, Puru and Sons. He's about 60 years old, is eager to hand over the business to his sons, Ratan and Pramod. He, however, fears that his sons, fresh from college, may not understand the tricks of the trade. Purushottam sends a bunch of sweets to the police station across the street every day. Ratan construed this as a bribe and wanted to stop this practice. Which of the following, if true, would best convince Ratan not to give up this practice? So, we want an option that supports the fact that the father has been sending sweet boxes to the police station. So, we need to support that, and we need to show that this is not a bribe. Let's get into the options. The first one is the fact that in the last 3 years, 3 attempts to burgle Puru and Sons were effectively foiled by the police. This option actually supports the fact that the father was actually bribing the police officers, and the police officers were returning the favor by protecting the sweet shop from threats and from thefts. So this, we can eliminate this one. Second option, each policeman receives only 2 pieces of sweet, too small to be considered a bribe. So this seems like an enticing option because the option itself is telling us that this is not a bribe. So we keep this one aside. Third one, the police in return sends 2 policemen in mufti to mingle with the customers during rush hours to prevent pickpockets. Again, this is just like the first option, wherein they are actually returning the favor by taking the bribe. The option D. Every day Purushottam also sends a batch of sweets to the school next to the station, an orphanage nearby, and the temple at the end of the street. So this shows how Purushottam has been doing this practice regardless of what the institution is. He sends it to orphanages, to temples, and so on. And the police station is just another one in the list. So this makes it seem like there is no give and take in this relationship. It is not like he's giving, because he's not going to try to bribe a temple or an orphanage. So the police station is just another institution that he sends sweets to. So this is an option that I really like. Purushottam's competitor Uttam Purush, who runs a sweet shop in the same street, and his neighbor Mahapurush, who runs a samosa stall, both do similar things every day. Of course, this option is a classic trap that I wanted to highlight. Is the reason why I picked this question up, is because I wanted to highlight the fact that common practices does not make something right. Just because a practice is common in the industry does not make it the correct practice. So this is the reason why we eliminate option E as well. Coming on to the option B and D, I like the option D better, so I went with it. But the important learning from option B is the fact that bribe of any size is still a bribe. We cannot say that because it is too small, it may not be considered a bribe anymore. So that is a little bit about the second question. And I wanted to discuss two key takeaways over here. The first is, as I said, common practices may not always be correct. And this I wanted to highlight, and in other business cases as well. For example, the question may bring us a case that says that this is XYZ has been happening in a particular scenario, but they would say that other companies have been functioning like this for decades. So this does not make that option correct. The second one is, of course, the size of the bribe does not matter. For some parting thoughts, I wanted to emphasize the importance of mock taking. And I know a lot of you are taking mocks, but I want to emphasize on the importance of taking entire full length mocks. That is, go on for 3 hours, because XAT is more like a marathon and you cannot afford to be exhausted after 1 hour like we used to be in the SNAP exam. We need to, again gear up and be able to focus for 3 hours straight. So the first point over here is that. And the second point is to also doubly emphasize on decision making, because this is a new section. So take a few sectional mocks over there. That should help us get beyond and way above the sectional cutoff and maximize our overall score. So that's a little bit about this video, and I wish you all the best for the upcoming exam, which is the XAT, and also for the interview season. I'm really looking forward to seeing more of you. Thank you.